So the reason the hook is the like 20% that gets you the 80% of the impact is, let's say this is your written ad. It's lines and lines and lines and lines and lines and lines of text. There's a see more button, like 2 to, depending on the size of the characters. That means they pretty much just see this. And then if it's Instagram, they like just see that without having to click, which, remember, clicking is physical resistance, one of my principles, to reveal the rest of this. So 100% of people read this section, less than 100% of people will read this section, right? So what you say here has to do a number of different things, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then in terms of the video, let's say this y-axis is retention and this x-axis is time. Your retention curve is going to look a little bit something like that. And then this is 50%. 50% of people are going to drop off at 1.8 seconds. And so you have to do a lot of heavy lifting in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, so that's just the cross correlation between written and video, and then complementing both of them together.
Yeah, it's lower physical and psychological resistance. Like this is like the video equivalent to this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so there's a couple things that your hook needs to do. So firstly, it needs to spark curiosity. So they go, what is this? However, what it also needs to do is it needs to have committed language. Now this is by far the most impactful thing you can do when it comes to improving the conversion rate of your landing page. And the third thing it needs to do is filter for shit clicks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through, for you, we're going to go through an example of just how we can go through each of these. And you can go through, like when you eventually master this, you can do it all in one take, but just so I can show you the process, we're going to do it step by step. So if you had to spark curiosity for your offer, just give me a sentence. So talking about content. So how do you spark curiosity about content creation?
You're a business owner who is only relying on word of mouth.
That does a great job of sparking curiosity. However, what you'll, in my experience, see happen is people will click this because they go, I'm a business owner relying on word of mouth. But it doesn't set the expectation. Remember, setting expectations is one of our principles, that when they get to the landing page. So let's say if you, and I want you to pretend you don't know what your offer is. If you just read, and you didn't read anything down here about the offer, you just read, are you a business owner relying on word of mouth? Tell me all the things you think that could be on earth. You know it's organic content. I could think that it's ads.
Yeah.
I could think that it's email marketing. I could think that it's starting a YouTube channel.
Or an agency.
I could think that it's an agency. I could think that it's a podcast.
Yeah, okay.
There's so many different things. And then only a small segment of the people clicking were even thinking it was organic content. And so what you'll see happen here is, and we'll talk about what a high click-through rate, link click-through rate is you'll get a really, really high link click-through rate here, like probably like 2.5%. But you'll have a really, really poor conversion rate on the landing page because they go, I'm a business owner relying on word of mouth. And then they see content, they're like, oh, I thought it was fucking podcast. And then they just bounce. So we did that, but we didn't do this. So committed language. What we need to do now is we need to add language that implies like what the mechanism is, and they can safely assume they're going to need to apply for it or contact them. My cheat for this one is just try and find a way to embed the word clients or members, or in your instance, like workshop attendees, into this sentence. So if you just had to put the word, pick whatever fucking word you want, like clients or members or...
Let's go workshop attendees.
Yeah, so how do you remix this sentence to just embed that into it?
Are you a business owner looking for a workshop that teaches you something other than relying on word of mouth? It's a bit wordy though.
Yeah, so that one's a bit long. Well, useful tip, by the way. It would be easier if I wrote this. I think we spoke about this before, like last week. Much easier, and this is useful for everyone else as well. When you're drafting copy, it's way easier to write down your shitty draft rather than trying to bounce it around in your head. Because when you see the words down on the page and go, oh yeah, I just changed this. So if I was to do this, I would do something like, so we want to embed the word workshop attendees, after these 2 days, business owners don't need to rely on word of mouth. Now, when you just read this at face value, it doesn't seem like it's doing a lot, but there's a lot of things that get implied by just this. Like, for example, if I say it's 2 days, we pretty safely immediately assume that this is a workshop or an event. A couple other things happen as well. Now we expect, when we just read that, the landing page we're going to is probably going to be about these 2 days, right? If we wanted to do these again, I do after these 2 days creating content. I'm going to add that. After these 2 days creating content, business owners don't need to rely on word of mouth, right? Because if I just pretend I erase that again, after these 2 days, business owners don't need to rely on word of mouth. We've hit the event thing, but we can still think like, oh, you're going to teach me ads? Are you going to teach me how to start a YouTube channel? Are you going to teach me how to start a podcast? But if I say after these 2 days creating content, business owners don't rely on word of mouth, now we've set that expectation. That makes sense? Because it's all very, very subtle language changes.
And it feels like, well, the committed language is there too.
Yeah, exactly right. So now we've got committed language. Because with this first one, sometimes people will click it thinking it's like a fucking blog article or some shit like that. People are retarded.